Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Let's begin lesson number 3. In this lesson, inshallah, we will learn about Lam al-Tarif. Basically, it's Lam. So as we discussed in the previous lesson, that Lam has many uses, and one of them is the first one that we are going to learn is this one. It is called Lam al-Tarif. That is the Lam that makes an indefinite noun into a definite noun. And this is Hamzatul Wasl. Inshallah, we will discuss about it in detail. And it means the in English, and it is used for specific persons, things, or places. So for specific, that's what we need to focus on. Here we have Hamza, which is called Hamzatul Wasli, connecting Hamza. And as you can see the sign over here, that is basically, as we know, the letter Saad. So letter Saad has an eye and it has a neck. So that is called the neck. So when we remove it, what is left is the eye of the Saad. So it will be written like this in the Quran. So this is called Hamzatul Wasl. And then we have Hamzatul Qati', which is called disconnecting Hamza. And it will be written in its original form. However, it will be written on Alif or under Alif, as we can see over here. And it can take Dhamma, Fatha, or Kasra. But the only difference will be that the original sign of Hamza will be there as well. Then we have Al-Huruf Al-Qamariyah, the moon letters, and Al-Huruf Al-Shamsiyah, the sun letters. Let's begin. Ad-Darsu Al-Thalithu, lesson 3. So now we can see that this is incomplete sentence. It's a phrase. That's why the meaning we can see here is lesson 3. So we can see that lesson 3 is not a complete sentence. Similarly, in Arabic, it is not a complete sentence. Baytun, as we discussed, that a common noun, generally a common noun, when we put a tanween on it, it is, or it gives the meaning of a or an. So baytun, a house. And when we add al to that, and basically al-lam tarif, then it becomes al-baytu, and it means the house. So what happens basically? Al changes a noun from indefinite to definite. If a noun is as we can see here, indefinite, if it is nakira, then what happens when we add al to that? It becomes ma'rifa, or it becomes definite. Similarly, we have kitabun, a book. And when we add al to that, it becomes al-kitabu, the book. Qalamun, a pen, and al-qalamu, the pen. And similarly, we have jamalun, a camel, and al-jamalu, the camel. Now, we can see over here that here we have only fatha, and we don't have that sign as we saw in the previous slide. And the reason is this is restricted to the Quran, whereas this is what we say modern standard Arabic. So in modern standard Arabic, they generally do not put this. They only put fatha, dhamma, or kasra. So that's what we need to see over here. Now, what do we have? We have al-qalamu maksurun. So we have a combination of two nouns. And what kind of nouns are those? Are both of them proper nouns or common nouns, definite or indefinite, or is there any difference? So we can see that the first one is a definite noun because it has al with that. And the second one is indefinite. It's a common noun because it does not have al and it ends with tanween. And what happens when we have a combination of definite noun and indefinite noun? It becomes a complete sentence. And when we insert, how to know that it's a complete sentence? Try to insert is in between. And if it's possible to insert is in between, then it becomes a complete sentence. The pen is broken. So we can see over here that it's a complete sentence. In the previous two lessons, you remember we discussed about Asma'ul Ishara. we discussed about hada and dhalika, and we know that hada and dhalika are also definite nouns. And now we can see over here that the third category over here, we can see that a noun, when we add al to that, that also becomes a definite noun or marifa. Then we have al-babu maftuhun, the door is open. All right, so now we need to know that every noun that has tanween on it, and it's a common noun, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to translate it as a or n, because it can be adjective as well. So if it's an adjective, we know that with adjective, we do not use a or n. So that's why the translation will be the pen is broken. We can't really say the pen is broken. You know that, right? And similarly, we cannot say the door is open, because we know that these are adjectives and there is no need to use a or n with them. Like we can see over here, baytun, because a house, qalamun, a pen, and kitabun and jamalun. So we translate it as a camel, a book, whereas maksurun and maftuhun are adjectives. That's why there is no need to use a or n with them. Al-waladu jalisun wal mudarrisu waqifun. The boy is sitting, jalisun sitting, wal mudarrisu waqifun, and the teacher is standing. And you remember the use of wow? Why is it used? It is used to connect two sentences. Sentence number one, al-waladu jalisun. Sentence number two, al-mudarrisu waqifun. And we want to connect them, so we will connect them with wow, and it means and. Excellent, yeah. Similarly, we have al-kitabu jadidun wal-qalamu qadimun. The book is new and the pen is old. Al-himaru saghirun wal-hisanu. Okay, give me a second. Wal-hisanu kabirun. The donkey is small and the horse is big. So please refer to the vocab. It's very, very important. It will help us a lot to try to memorize all these new words. So al-kitabu jadidun wal-qalamu qadimun. So new and old. And similarly, we have saghirun and kabirun. Whereas these words like al-himar wal-hisan, you know them already, alhamdulillah. Then we have al-kursiyu maksurun. The chair is broken. And al-mindilu wasikhun. The handkerchief is dirty. Similarly, we have al-ma'u baridun, water, or the water is cold. And then we have al-qamaru jamilun, the moon is beautiful. Okay, now we can see that there is a hamza over here, and here it is the part of the word. If you remember, in the beginning of the lessons, we discussed that hamza can be a part of the word itself. It can be a part of a noun or a part of a verb, like verb as we see ja'a, like it means he came. So when we say ja'a, now it is a part of the letter. It's a part of the root. So here it is a letter by itself. But sometimes we know that it sits on alif and waw and ya, and inshallah we will discuss about that. Al-baytu qaribun wal masjidu ba'idun. The house is near and the masjid is far. Al-hajaru thaqilun wal waraqu khafifun. The stone is heavy and the paper is light. Al-labanu harun. Do you remember the meaning of laban and the verses of the Quran that we discussed in the previous lesson? Okay, excellent. So al-labanu harun, the milk is hot. Al-qamisu nadhifun, the shirt is clean. Excellent. Yeah, so it is harun with tashdid, as we can see over here. Tamarinu, exercises. Tamrinun is singular and the plural is tamarinu. And now you should notice over here that it is not tamarinun, it is tamarinu. So it does not have tanween. So when a noun does not have tanween, what should come to your mind? That it is partially flexible. Partially flexible nouns do not accept tanween, like Ibrahimu, Ismailu, Ahmadu. And similarly for we have here tamarinu, it is on the pattern of mafa'ilu. So if you refer back to the lesson that was about partially flexible nouns, we discussed about some categories and we also discussed about some patterns. So this is one of the patterns, and the pattern is mafa'ilu. And if a noun comes on that pattern, then it will not accept tanween. اقرأ واكتب مع ضبط أواخر الكلمات. اقرأ, read, and uktub, it was basically uktub, but you know that when Hamza, this is what we call Hamzatul Wasl. So when we connect it, then we do not pronounce it. It becomes sakin or it becomes silent. So how do we read it? Iqra waktub. Ma means with. Dabti, dabata yadbitu, dabtan is basically to fix something, and here it means it refers to the case endings. Awakhiri, the end al-kalimati of the words. So what we have to do now, we have to put the proper case endings of the nouns. Masjidun, so what should be the ending of masjid? Should I put tanween over there? Excellent, masjidun, very good. So we will put dammatan over there. What about al-masjidu? Al-masjid. So shall I put tanween over there or only dhamma? Okay, excellent. So I will put only dhamma over there. Similarly, we have al-ma, and then we have to put the case ending, and we will put there al-ma'u. And why would we do that? Dhamma, excellent, yeah. Because as you can see here, al and tanween never come together in one word. So they never come together with respect to the Quran and with respect to the Arabic language. In poetry, maybe there is possibility. But when we talk about Quran and Hadith, then we will see that al and tanween never come together. So we have here ma, and what will be the ending? Excellent. Ma'un, water. Al-bay, al-baytu, excellent. Then we have, so the translation, you know this already. Masjid, al-masjidu, ma, water, ma'un, water. Al-baytu, the house. Babun, babun, excellent. A door. Then we have qalam, and then we have to put tanween because it's a common noun. Qalamun. Then we have al-qalamu, excellent. We cannot put tanween because al and tanween never come together. Then we have al-kalbu, that means the dog, al-kalbu. Then we have kalb, and then we have to put tanween. It will be kalbun. Then we have qamis. So qamisun, excellent, perfect. Then we have walad, and the ending will be waladun, ahsant. Then we have al-hajar, and then the ending will be al-hajaru, excellent. Then we have al-waladu, excellent, al-waladu. Himar, it's a common noun, so we can put tanween on that. So it will be himarun. Al-himar, because we have al with that, so we cannot put tanween, so it will be al-himaru. Then we have al-hisan, and we have al, we cannot put tanween, it will be al-hisanu. And then the last one is hisanun, that means a horse. So we have al-hisanu, the horse, and hisanun, a horse. Excellent. Okay. Now we have iqra, waktub, read and write. So here we can see that Hamza is sakina, iqra. And when Hamza is sakina, we read it with a small jerk, especially in the recitation of the Quran. فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَأَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ, ma'kul. We will not read it as ma'kul. And similarly here, because it is sakin, so we will say iqra waktub, read and write. All right, so what should be the ending of al-maktab and what should be the ending of maksur? Okay, so al-maktab will take dhamma and maksur will take dhammatain, or dhammatan, I should say. So al-maktabu maksurun, the desk is broken, and now it has become a complete sentence. Now, if we know the case endings, it's fine. But what if I am a beginner and I don't know the case endings? So there is a possibility that I might read it as al-maktabu, al-maktaba, al-maktabi. And similarly, I can read it as maksurun, maksuran, and maksurin. But the case endings here, as we know, they tell us that, okay, here we have to put dhamma and here we have to put dhammatan. And the reason is that this is a proper noun, or it's a definite, and this is an indefinite noun, and the combination of definite and indefinite noun makes a complete sentence. So when you have that idea, when you have that idea into your mind that we have a combination of definite and indefinite noun, then inshallah straight away you will put dhamma and dhammatain. Excellent. Then we have al-mudarris and jadid. So al-mudarris, al-jadid is okay in everyday Arabic, but when you want to learn proper Arabic and the case endings, then we will say al-mudarrisu jadidun. Ahsant. Yeah, the teacher is new. Then we have al-qamis and wasakh, and when we put the endings, it will be al-qamisu wasakhun. The shirt is dirty. Then we have al-laban and barid, and we will say al-labanu baridun. So please pay a very special attention to the case endings. We know that the first part, as we can see, so here I'm only telling you part 1 and part 2. But inshallah, in the next lesson, we will learn that they have specific names, okay? So the first part, as we can see, of the sentence has dhamma, and the second part has dhammatan. Or there is a possibility that both of them can have dhamma. However, we need to know that both of them are marfu'. Both of them are what? Marfu'. We know that a noun that ends with dhamma or dhammatan, that is marfu'. So we can see that part 1 and part 2, both of them must have dhamma or dhammatan. Excellent. Then we have al-masjid maftuh. So it will be al-masjidu maftuhun. The masjid is open. Al-hajaru kabirun. The rock is big, or the stone is big. Then we have al-labanu baridun wal-ma'u harrun. The milk is cold, and the water is hot. Excellent. Then we have al-muhandisu jalisun. The engineer is sitting, wal mudarrisu waqifun, and the teacher is standing. So muhandis is engineer and mudarris is teacher. Al-qamaru ba'idun. The moon is away or far away. And then we have al-mindilu nadhifun. The kerchief or the handkerchief is clean. Okay, excellent. So the case endings, inshallah, I'm very sure that you're confident about it, and you know that you can there is a question, the difference between kabir and akbar. Kabir means big and akbar means the biggest. Like in English we have big and then the biggest. Yeah, so kabir means big and akbar means the biggest. So when we say Allahu Akbaru, Allah is the greatest. Okay. Imla. So the ending is sakin. One more rule you need to notice over here. You need to notice that here the ending is sakin, imla. Okay. And then after that we have al. So it's not possible that we have sakin here and sakin here, because two sakin letters come together and we cannot pronounce them. So what's the way to pronounce them? Then we have to put kasra. So that is a very, very important rule. So what you will do here, you will put kasra over here and you will say imla il faragha, fill in the blanks. Faragh is used for the blanks. So imla il faragha, fima yali, which follows, biwada'i, by putting. So you can see over here that I'm putting kasra over here because of B. You know that B is harf jar and the noun that comes after that becomes majroor. Biwada'il kalimati al-munasibati minal. Okay, so what will be the ending of al-kalimat and at-taliya? The ending will be al-kalimati at-taliyati. Excellent. And why we have to put the ending with kasra? Because of min. We know that min is a harf jar, and when we connect it here, we can see here, we will connect it. Now there is another rule you should learn from now, from the beginning, okay? And this is an exception, by the way, as you can see over here. Everywhere when we have two sakin letters, we have to connect with kasra. But when we have min is always connected with fatha, and that is an exception. Please note it down. Very, very important point. Whenever we have two sakin letters, we connect it with kasra. For example, here, imla il faragha, fima yali. But when we have min, whenever we connect min with a sakin letter, for example, al is sakin, we have to connect it with what? We have to get connected with fatha. Min Allahi. So you remember one example, min Allahi. So because min basically is sakin, the ending is sakin, as we can see here, sakin. But when we connect it with fatha. Okay, so fill in the blanks with, it should be with, which follows by placing the right word from the following words. So we have here jamilun, beautiful, wasikhun, dirty, maftuhun, open, harrun, hot, thaqilun, heavy, khafifun, light. Okay, so al-hajaru, what do you think? What should we put over there? Al-hajaru. Excellent. Al-hajaru thaqilun. The stone or the rock is heavy. Al-babu, the door. Al-babu, excellent. Maftuhun, the door is open. Then we have al-qamaru. Al-qamaru, normally we say the moon is beautiful. Yeah, so we will say al-qamaru jamilun, the moon is beautiful. Al-waraqu, normally it's light, so we will say al-waraqu khafifun, excellent. Then we have al-mindilu, the handkerchief. And unfortunately, every time it has to be dirty. So al-mindilu wasikhun. And then we have al-labanu, the milk. And normally the milk is hot when we heat it. So al-labanu harrun, the milk is hot. Excellent. Okay, now again, we can see over here that we have to connect imla. And when we connect it, it will be imla il-faragha fima yali biwad'i. And now we have to put kasratain over here, biwad'i kalimatin munasibatin, because it's a common noun. So we put kasratan over there. Biwad'i kalimatin munasibatin. Fill in the blanks, which follows. So imla means fill. Al-faragha, the blanks. Fima, which. Yali means follow. Yali means follow. Biwad'i, by placing. Ba, here it is translated as by. And if you remember, I told you that ba, like ba, wow, ma, and lam, li, they have lots of uses. Okay, so you need to know these uses, and from now onwards, from the beginning, you should write down the uses, and you can see over here that here ba is used by, it means by, biwad'i, by placing a suitable word. Okay, nadhifun, so you can put any word over here. If you have lots of vocabulary, you can put any word over here. And for example, you can say al-mindilu nadhifun. You can put any word over there. So if you have the vocabulary that we have learned already, yeah, al-qamisu nadhifun, ahsant. Yeah, we can see, or we can say al-mindilu nadhifun. So I was saying like mindil is always dirty, so this time it is clean. Al-mindilu nadhifun. The handkerchief is clean. Then we have maksurun, something has to be broken. It can be al-jawalu, it can be mobile phone, it can be al-qalamu, it can be al-kursiyu. So the vocabulary that we have learned, al-miftahu, excellent, yeah. So the vocab that we have learned is al-kursiyu, so we will put the same over here, al-kursiyu maksurun. Then we have learned about water, baridun. So baridun means cold, so it can be al-labanu, it can be al-ma'u, it can be al-asiru, that means juice. So it can be anything, yeah. So we say al-ma, normally juice is not, yeah, it's cold. So we say al-ma'u baridun, water is cold. Al-asiru baridun, juice is cold. Then we have qaribun, anything that is nearby. Al-masjidu qaribun. Similarly, we can say al-baytu qaribun, so anything that is nearby. Yes, al-masjidu qaribun, the house is near. And anything can be ba'id. For example, al-qamaru ba'idun, we know that the moon is away. Then we have next one, waqifun, standing. So al-mudarris, the teacher, yeah, al-mudarrisu waqifun, the teacher is standing. And then we have jalisun. So we learned that al-waladu jalisun, excellent. And then we have kabirun, it can be anything, al-masjidu, al-baytu. So we will say al-baytu kabirun. And similarly, qadimun, old. And we will say ad-daftaru qadimun. Daftar means notebook. It does not mean an office. In Arabic, it means a notebook. And the notebook is old. And then we say jadidun, al-kitabu jadidun. So al-kitabun means a book, and ad-daftaru means a notebook. And that's what we need for learning. For learning, we need three things. We need al-qalamu, wal-kitabu, wal-daftaru. These things are very, very important. Especially the pen, we need to write down. Why? Because alladhi allama bil-qalam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us by the pen. So we have to use pen. We have to write down everything. Yes, we do have laptops, we do have mobile phones, we have smart devices, but there is no alternative to the pen. As I told you, or I described the verse of the Quran, alladhi allama bil qalam, so the one who taught by the pen. So it's very, very important that you use the pen and you take your notes. Maktab, yeah, it's a very good question. Maktab is office, yeah, and maktab is also used for the desk. Maktab can be used for both. It can be used for office and it can also be used for the desk, depending on the context. Al-kalimatu al-jadidatu, the new words. We have learned all of them, alhamdulillah. So al-qamaru, the moon, jadidun, new, qadimun, old, wasikhun, dirty. So starting from here, we can see that all of them are adjectives, right? So that's why we do not need to translate them using a or n, because they are adjectives. That's number one. We know adjectives in English, and now we need to learn adjectives in Arabic. And here we go. We have a long list of adjectives, all of them as we can see over here. So jadidun is new, qadimun old, wasikhun dirty, nadifun clean, harun hot, baridun cold, saghirun small, kabirun big, maftuhun open, maksurun broken. Okay, so this pattern, maf'ulun, this pattern, as of now, just you need to remember that this pattern gives the meaning of passive, something passive. Okay, for example, we have maftuhun, maksurun, ma'budun, masjudun, maqtulun. So anything that the action was performed at, that it comes on this pattern. So please remember that this pattern, yeah, the pattern is maf'ulun. What's the pattern? Maf'ulun. So on this pattern, any word that you see on this pattern, that means it will be translated as passive. It is the receiver of the action. Like I told you, ma'budun, the one who is worshipped. Maqtulun, the one who is killed. Similarly, we have masjudun, the one who we do sajda to. Then we have maftuhun, something that is opened. Maksurun, something that is broken. Okay, thaqilun means heavy. Khafifun means light. Jamilun, beautiful. Waqifun and jalisun, standing, and then we have sitting. So this pattern, as you can see over here, waqifun and jalisun, fa'ilun. So this is opposite to the pattern that I told you before. Okay, so you have two patterns over here. So the pattern that we have over here is fa'ilun, waqifun, jalisun. So any word that comes on this pattern, waqifun, jalisun, majidun, sajidun, shahidun, any word that comes on this pattern, that means it is the doer of the action. So these two patterns, please write them down. That the pattern of fa'ilun, only you need to know the pattern. You don't need to worry about it if you're not able to understand what it means. But inshallah, you will, with the passage of time, you will be able to learn more about that. But if you know the pattern, you will be able to understand. Like in the Quran, we have shahidun wa mashhud. We have similarly, there are many examples in the Quran. Talibun wa matlub. Yeah, so we have the examples in the Quran. So shahidun, the one who witnesses, mashhud, that is witnessed, talibun, who wants something, matlub, something that is needed. So this pattern is active and this pattern is maf'ulun, and it will be always the same pattern. The harakat will not change. I mean, maf'ulun, the pattern will be the same. However, the ending can be maf'ulun, maf'ulan, maf'ulin, fa'ilun, fa'ilan, fa'ilin. So fa'ilun is what? Is the doer of the action. So this is the doer of the action. And maf'ulun is the receiver of the action. This is active and this is passive. Najmun, astar, and an-najmu, the astar. And similarly, rajulun, a man, ar-rajulu, the man, dikun, a rooster, and ad-diku, the rooster, talibun, the student, and at-talibu, the student. Intaha ad-darsu al-yawma, end of today's lesson. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.